Recently, I was able to witness the fights of 3 great warriors. His powers were completely absurd. I had never seen anything like it.
What it do? It's your boy, Dragon Ball Art 92. And I'm back with another Kamehameha reaction video. And today we got a good one today, you guys. Reaction video to Is God Ki Pointless by Cartho no Dojo. But before we get to the content today, you guys, make sure you hit the like button so that way we can trigger YouTube algorithm. That way we can be seen by a bigger audience. Also, if you're new here, we welcome you and we thank you for coming by and enjoying content with us today. Over here at Dragon Ball Art 92, we do reaction videos. Dragon Ball everything reaction videos. So if you're a Dragon Ball fan, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And don't forget to hit the bell notification so that way you can be updated whenever I drop a video. Now that we got all the good stuff out the way, let's get to the content.
When Dragon Ball had its huge resurgence back in 2013, people had 3 things on their minds specifically. Who's the original Super Saiyan God? What are the other universes like? And what the hell is God Ki? And look,
to start off, he got some good questions because I can remember when Dragon Ball Super first started, I kind of felt the same way, bro. Like, what is Super Saiyan God? Where did this come from? Because I don't remember them talking about a Super Saiyan God back in Dragon Ball Z, nor in GT or anywhere in particular. So it was a surprise to me. Also, I was wondering, well, if God Ki been around for a while, then who was the first Super Saiyan God? And where did the whole idea come from? Because they had to get it from an example, you know what I mean? And the whole aspect of different universes, bro, that blew my mind when I found out about that, bro, because I'm into science. So the whole multiverse theory popped up in my head and I was like, oh, they really getting into it. But let's get back to the content.
luckily for us, we got answers to all 3 of those questions. The concept of the original Super Saiyan God was seemingly retconned out of existence by Toriyama. He's not mentioned in the Dragon Ball Super version of the events, and even in his interview regarding the original Super Saiyan and the original Super Saiyan God, Toriyama mentions Yamoshi, who in that interview is called the original Super Saiyan, who's trying to create a new savior with his spirit called the Super Saiyan God. Yamoshi is not a Super Saiyan God. It's been so long now. People have to know this.
What the bro? From what I've been hearing, Yamoshi was the first Super Saiyan God, but from what bruh's saying, Yamoshi wasn't. That's quite interesting. Let me know in the comment section if you know a little bit about Yamoshi and if he really was the first Super Saiyan God or not, and if they said it in a series or in an interview or whatever. And if you do have that information, drop a link in the comments. Let's go.
As for the other universes, we got the answer to them in the form of 2 arcs, really. Kind of 3, if you think about it. The Destroyer Tournament, or whatever you want to call it, God of Destruction Tournament, Universe 6 Tournament is what I tend to call it, gives us a little insight into Universe 6, the parallel universe to Universe 7. Then in the Goku Black arc, which is actually called the Future Trunks arc, we get insights into Universe 10 with Gawas and Zamasu, and that's basically it, but it's a little bit of insight.
I'm not just gonna go past without recognizing how bad he said their names, and I thought I'd be butchering people names, bro. Zumasu and Gawasu. Let's get back to it though, bro. But bro making good points. Let's get back to it.
Insight into the other gods of another universe. Pretty cool. And then, of course, the Tournament of Power gives us our biggest glimpse by revealing every god of destruction, every Kaioshin, every angel, and the top 10 mortal fighters in 7 of the other remaining 11 universes. So, all things considered, not bad. And we eventually found out what God Ki is.
What was your favorite arc in Dragon Ball Super? I was torn between 2 of them, right? the Goku Black arc and the Tournament of Power. Both were great arcs to me. They both had some parts that I felt like maybe they could have skipped over or left out, but entirely, or as a whole, they were great arcs. One of my favorites from Super. Leave a comment in the comment section of your favorite arc. Let's get back to it.
It's bullshit. Think about this for a second. In concept, God Ki is incredibly cool. It ascends the user to the power of the gods. Not those gods, these gods. So back in like 2013, 2014, everyone was speculating about God Ki, its usage, who was going to get it, who wasn't, how it was going to change the dynamic of Dragon Ball going forward, because it seemed like Dragon Ball was here to stay, at least for a little bit. And you have to admit, being in 2014 and thinking, man, could the human fighters actually catch up to the Saiyans via God Ki? Could this be a gap closer in terms of power across the cast?
I'm not gonna lie, bro. When they did introduce God Ki, I was quite interested in knowing if anybody else was going to be able to utilize God Ki as well, or was it going to be specifically for the Saiyans? And as time went on, it rolled out to be just for Goku and Vegeta at the end of the day. But they kind of on God Ki, bro, with how fast Frieza caught up to them. Frieza only trained for 4 months and was able to get stronger than a Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan, or Super Saiyan Blue. Very interesting, right? So they basically was on God Ki, bro, until they came out with Ultra Instinct. But that's for a later video. Let's get back to the content.
In the series, thinking of God Ki Ten Shinhan with 3 Days Grace playing in the background, doing Shinki co-host with all 4 arms at the same time. Bang, bang, bang. I mean, that's just raw as hell. But it didn't happen. And what we got instead was something not great. I'm not gonna lie. I don't think it's great. So in 2015, Resurrection of F comes out. And just so you know, this is only 3 months before Dragon Ball Super. And it only airs in the US after Dragon Ball Super already started in Japan. That's how short the time span between.
Wait, so Japan didn't get a version of the Battle of Gods? You telling me that was only a US movie? Oh, wow. I didn't know they were doing that.
Resurrection F and Dragon Ball Super is, by the way. But more importantly than that, Goku and Vegeta get new forms from training with Whis that are soaked in God Ki. This is the strongest form we've ever seen in the series. Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan. It wasn't called Super Saiyan Blue at the time, but you know what I mean. The thing is, Frieza, who was able to not only compete with them, people forget this, was stronger than them, just had a stamina issue, didn't have God Ki. He had 4 months of training and normal ass basic Ki. Now, this might be one of the craziest decisions of all time, because it seems almost comically easy, if you're going to give him that big of a power-up, to just say he figured out God Ki naturally on his own. Call him a mutant again, call him whatever you...
That would have made a whole lot more sense if they did that, bro. Let's give him a round of applause for coming up with that idea. Because to say Frieza combated with God forms and with regular Ki is insane, bro. But then again, when the season progressed, that explains how Gohan and Piccolo, et cetera, are able to keep up with Super Saiyan Blue. Super Saiyan Blue, it basically became a normal form, bro, after a while. Like the form basically is very, very bad, bro, how they did it. But let's get back to the content.
You need to cope and make a joke about it, but it feels so criminally easy to give him God Ki that I have to feel it was a deliberate choice not to give him God Ki in this form, in his golden form, that is. So after watching this movie and knowing you're getting a series immediately after, you think, okay, well, God Ki isn't really as big of a deal as we thought it was, but maybe it could still be used as a way to catch up the cast, right? What are the main cast doing besides Goku and Vegeta at this point? Well, Yamcha is stuck in gag character hell. Ten Shinhan is treated like garbage despite being an active and training martial artist, and Krillin is a fucking cop. So they're not doing that much in terms of God Ki and catching up.
The Z Fighters now are basically just supporting cast for Goku and Vegeta. Goku and Vegeta pretty much does all the work. I mean, when they're needed, they come through and support. But for the most part, bro, most of them moved on with their life because they understood their limits. Now, if the writers would have wrote them in to make them stronger and a part of the whole thing, it would have probably made the series a little bit more better, because I think if they were able to keep up, and it'll just make the competition better, and it'll just boost everything, the morality, the whole fact that Goku have other people to train with, to get stronger with. Like it really would have, did some things, you know what I mean? But I think they kind of dropped the ball on that one. But let's get back to the content.
Up their power. Toei tried to give Krillin this episode between the Goku Black arc and the Tournament of Power, but clearly, because Toriyama decided every elimination in the Tournament of Power, he had no interest in giving Krillin some sort of power-up or really big moment in the tournament. So this was just Toei trying to throw a bone towards safe Krillin fans, when in reality, Toriyama was going to rip it right out of their mouths again anyway in the few weeks. If we go to the alien side of the main cast, it's better for them in terms of catching up, but worse in terms of God Ki.
Krillin became the new Chaozu, bro. Like, honestly. But the difference between Krillin and Chaozu, Krillin got him a chick, you know what I'm saying, and had a family, you feel me, and got him a good job, you know what I'm saying? Just like Trunks. Well, Trunks didn't have a kid or anything, but in GT, he had him a good job and was basically moving on with his life. That's why I think that, in GT was weak, because Trunks was garbage in that whole looking for the Black Star Dragon Ball saga, bro. Like, he was weak, bro. Pan was stronger than him, bro. Like, she did more than him in that. That's just my opinion, bro. But let's get back to the content.
And actually, quick addendum, I actually forgot this in the video. This is not a joke. It's not better for all of the alien side of the cast, because Goten and Trunks are so forgotten that not only do they not catch up to the main cast in any capacity, they also were so left behind. They were left at their ages in the Boo saga. And oh, you may be saying, but they're saying biology. This was so explained. Obviously, they explained it now. It's all good. Why the hell is Marin still a toddler in Dragon Ball Super when she's supposed to have aged up by like 4 years at that point at least? Come on now. Let's be a little reasonable. They left them as kids and didn't change the designs. Maybe they forgot. Maybe there's some other reason, but it's stupid, and it leads to them still being left behind, and definitely leads to them not having God Ki, which is the main point of this video. Now let's jump back to the original recording, though, where I'm about to talk about Piccolo. Piccolo gets 2 new transformations, one of which is derived from Shenron and seems tied both to his Namekian heritage and his other half being Kami. And guess what it doesn't have? God Ki, despite half of him being God. Okay, cool. Orange Piccolo's a Giga Chad. I like.
That's a good point. But he was the guardian of Earth, so he would be considered what, God, the God of the Earth. You know what I mean? I guess you can say that. So I don't necessarily think, because Kami never used God Ki either. They never talked about God Ki, bro. So it's really hard to really pinpoint certain things because we don't have the evidence. We can just speculate. But let's get back to it.
Like Orange Piccolo a lot. I actually really love that form. I made a video about it because I like it so much. But Orange Piccolo and Piccolo are just not God Ki forms, and they're supposed to be like these gap closers. Well, mainly Orange Piccolo. Piccolo is kind of weak, actually. But Orange Piccolo is a gap closer between Piccolo and Goku, apparently. He's supposed to be rivaling Goku in whatever capacity that means. Obviously, it's less than Ultra Instinct, but Super Saiyan Blue level? Yeah, but seemingly likely. Same with the androids, Gamma 1 and 2. They're rivaling Goku and Vegeta. That's clearly not talking about them in terms of anything else besides at least Super Saiyan Blue. At the very worst, Super Saiyan God. But realistically, Super Saiyan Blue. And they don't even have Ki at all. I mind it less with androids compared to organic.
And they were made by humans. How can humans even fathom that type of power? Even though I give him credit, he was a very smart scientist, him and Bulma, but he created them androids. But how can a human even understand that type of power? And what was he even comparing the power to? Just the fights that the Saiyans had? I'm not exactly too sure. I need to go back and watch Dragon Ball Super Superheroes again. But let's get back to the content.
Fighters because the androids are sort of like a cheat code, right? They're reverse engineered versions of human and Saiyan fighters, basically organic fighters. They take that data and they're able to mimic it into machinery, right? That's how technology seems to work in Dragon Ball. You could reverse engineer basically anything to make it a better version of itself. Look at Dr. Brief taking the Saiyan pod and turning it into that big ship. Goku takes the Namek, right? You can reverse engineer this stuff. So that's fine. But still no representation for God Ki there. And the other big character in that movie, Gohan, has first his ultimate form. Now, if you're a Dragon Ball Super manga reader, I believe there's no reason to believe that Ultimate Gohan is close in power to Blue Goku and Blue Vegeta, like there is in the anime version, where the narrator directly states that Ultimate Gohan and Goku rival each other, though clearly Blue Kaioken is stronger. But even in the Dragon Ball Super manga, you can't deny that Ultimate Gohan, with a couple of years of off-screen training for the most part, is rivaling Blue Goku and Vegeta in Ultimate when he goes to rescue Pan, since he's doing better against the Gammas than Piccolo was, right? And the Gammas are supposed to be on this Goku Vegeta tier arbitrarily, which should again mean Super Saiyan Blue. So that's just an old transformation that's catching up to the power of these God Ki transformations that are after years and years of training, by the way. We are way past Resurrection F levels of power for Goku and Vegeta. And then you get Beast Gohan, which is not only rivaling the God Ki transformations themselves, but the God Ki godly technique transformation, seemingly on a level near, at least. Whether you think it's above or below, I don't really...
Like I said earlier, they pretty much was on God Ki, bro. They all over God Ki, bro. Just defecated. Because it seemed like they didn't care about it, bro. Or the writing they just start getting tired or something. I'm not exactly too sure what happened there, but and for Gohan to catch up to Ultra Instinct is insane, bro. It's like, how did that happen, bro? With not that much training, you telling me his potential was that potent? That's wild, bro. Let's get back to it.
Give a shit for this video. But Beast Gohan is clearly near the level of Ultra Instinct Goku, which is near the level of Ultra Ego Vegeta in some capacity. Again, whichever one you think is stronger, weaker. I think Goku's probably stronger, but still. Both of them are these godly techniques they had to learn from a god of destruction, an angel, divine beings, only one of each in the universe. And Beast Gohan just sort of happens. It doesn't even have God Ki, and God Ki is just such a weird concept in Dragon Ball because it's so underutilized in every single aspect. Like, okay, we went through all the main cast that don't have God Ki. At least there's going to be a little bit of God Ki or God energy or God power, divine power. I can't remember the translation, or at least the phrasing in maybe even Japanese in the Dragon Ball Super manga changes a lot in the Moro arc for this type of energy. But at least Oob had some of that juice in him, and it was like supposed to be a big deal. So it seems like it could still play a part. Maybe Toyotaro will come in and save God Ki. I would love that. Toyotaro, my blessing to you if you can.
And the fact that Oob got it make me feel like it's a God Ki bargain sale or something. Because it's like, well, you give Oob God Ki, but not the rest of the Z fighters that already been established, that people already are attached to. That's kind of interesting, man. But let's get back to it.
Can manage that. But it does seem like at this point, it's almost unsalvageable, because who even has God Ki on the villain side of things, right? We already went over Frieza, and talking about not just villains, antagonists in general. In the Tournament of Power, you have Toppo, and that's it. In the manga, I think Toppo uses his God Ki just like in his base form. He doesn't transform or anything. But in the anime, of course, he turns into this like God of Destruction form, whatever. They both use some form of divine Ki. Great, but that's it. Out of 80 fighters, 70 of which not being Universe 7, only one, as far as I can remember, uses God Ki. Okay, arc before that, Goku Black and Zamasu. Great, God arc. Okay, cool. 2 God Ki users. Fantastic.
Not to mention how Jiren's power, just his regular power, totally on God Ki, bro. Like it made God Ki look like child's play, honestly, until Goku stepped up his game and went into the Ultra Instinct form. But besides that, bro, Jiren made God Ki look very, very horrible, man. And I begin to question what was the point too, but it still looks cool, bro. It was still cool. I definitely enjoyed it, especially during the Goku Black arc. It's pretty exciting how Vegeta went into the hyperbolical time chamber, got stronger than Goku Black, went over there and beat his. Let's get back to it.
Are using them there, but it's not used to great effectiveness, right? In the Dragon Ball Super manga, and I guess even the anime to some point, Zamasu is garbage, right? He's like trash tier compared to the main fighters of that arc. He is not competing. He is not putting in work. Goku's like, yeah, Trunks could handle you. It's not great. And Trunks is like using Super Saiyan 2 in the manga, you know what I mean? He's just a nothing figure. So even him having God Ki doesn't help the case. It'd actually be better if he didn't have God Ki, and him activating his God Ki or learning to use more of his God Ki made him strong enough to compete, maybe. I don't know. Super Saiyan Rage Trunks is actually another thing to think about, because Super Saiyan Rage Trunks is like not God Ki, maybe. Possibly it's a God Ki infused. No one knows, because no one will fucking explain it. Then before that,
that's a good point, because I was wondering how did he get that blue ore? Where did that blue ore come from if he wasn't utilizing God Ki or Super Saiyan Blue in some sort of fashion? Under the Super Saiyan ore. It was weird to me. It was kind of weird. And they really didn't explain that. They just kind of left us in the dark with that. Let's get back to it.
You have the Universe 6 tournament where Hit doesn't have God Ki. I guess that's the only one that matters. Everyone else is relatively weak compared to Goku and Vegeta, of course, but Hit being able to even compete against people with Super Saiyan Blue is kind of yikes for God Ki as a concept. Again, this is the third arc after it was quote unquote introduced. Obviously the movies came out first, but the retellings are the same thing, right? It's not extra time. You get what I mean. And those are just the villains in the Dragon Ball Super anime. If we talk about things like the manga only villains, I don't think Granola or Gas were stated to use God Ki. They use some godly techniques like a form of destruction, or it looks like Hakai, right? Destruction, but no God Ki as far as I'm aware. And I think Moro may have been stated. I just could be misremembering. I'm doing this off the cuff, so I'll put something on screen if I'm right or wrong. Moro, when he copied Maris's abilities, was using God Ki. So that's something, but that was more so him copying Ultra Instinct and Angel Power than specifically using God Ki to amp himself up further. And then, of course, Broly doesn't use God Ki at all to this day, and Cell Max didn't use God Ki at all. So for me, God Ki is one of these weird things, especially when it comes to the main cast at this point. Because it's clear to me at this point, the intention is for everyone to have their own path of power. Gohan is going down the ultimate, I guess, human route of his own power growth. Broly is controlling Super Saiyan and his own mutated genes. Vegeta is going down the Destroyer path. Goku is going down the Angel path. Piccolo is going down a Namekian path of some sort. And we kind of have these many roads that we can look at these characters of.
And that makes the storyline even better, because everybody is not copying everybody. You know what I mean? They all have their own different forms, their own different fighting styles, even though they all may have similarities because they train with each other. Of course, you're going to pick up similarities, but their whole thinking, everything will be going down a different path like this. And to me, that's great story writing. And sometimes I think maybe what happened with the whole God Ki is that maybe they probably introduced God Ki probably a little too early than what they wanted to. And they had to create the storyline to make it interesting. So they didn't want Goku and Vegeta to automatically be stronger than everybody already because of God Ki. They still wanted to allow them to have some growth and progress within the series, which makes sense. So, maybe it was just a simple mistake, you know what I mean? But it still turned out pretty decent. You feel me? Let's get back to it.
Evolve and grow and change over. So I wonder if the reason God Ki is kind of ass and kind of a nothing power and a nothing addition to the world of Dragon Ball is because ultimately at the end of the day, it would limit how characters could be diversified from each other. Now, you could argue Piccolo or maybe Gohan could have God Ki in their forms, maybe have Gohan go down the Kai route, maybe have Piccolo go down the Kami route. But realistically, there's not a need to force God Ki in it is possible to clearly have diverging paths with God Ki, as shown by Goku and Vegeta. But if everyone has a diverging path via God Ki, maybe it would feel a bit worse. It's very possible this was a decision for the best at the cost of a cool thing in the series that could have been potentially better utilized. I will say one final thing about God Ki. People talk about God Ki sort of coming out of nowhere. And yes, it was a new concept, clearly, for Dragon Ball Z Battle of Gods. But the concept has some basis in the manga itself, with Shin and Kibito specifically having a type of energy that couldn't be used for Buu's revival. With Shin and Kibito being hard to gauge their power and sense them and understand who or what they are. From Piccolo being able to tell from just barely interacting with Supreme Kai that he was a Kai of high status. He thought he was the Dai Kaio, the Grand Kai, but he turned out to be the Supreme Kai, the one above the Grand Kai. So it is interesting to note that God Ki actually has its roots in the manga, was expanded on for things like Battle of Gods, Resurrection F, and to some degree even continues to be expanded to this day with things like Destruction and Ultra Instinct to be something a bit more than it was in the original manga and even more than it was back in 2013. It still feels hollow, it still feels underexplained, and it really feels not only underutilized, but also really kind of unnecessary at moments when you see characters achieving these levels of power and efficiency and technique without needing the use of God Ki at all. But I think that's all I want to say about that.
All right, you guys, that's the end of that video today. And bro makes some good points, man. Like I said, I really think they probably dropped the ball a little bit with the God Ki, which is understandable because, like I said, I think maybe they just introduced it a little bit too early. Maybe if they would have introduced it, during the Tournament of Power, and that was them evolving at that point, it probably would have made a little bit more sense. And, they could have continued the storyline a little bit more. But the stuff that they gave us still was great. Like the Moral arc, the Granola arc, those are two great arcs. Something now I'm hoping that they eventually will animate, or at least make a movie or something. You know what I mean? But we'll find out one day if they're actually going to, do that or not. But as a whole, that they do have some mess ups within the series, which is okay, because everybody messes up. You feel me? Not everything is going to be perfect. And today, you guys, thank you guys for coming through and checking us out today. Make sure, bro, that you guys out here taking care of yourself, drinking water, exercising, and doing the things that you need to do to progress in life, man. Because one thing that I learned in life, bro, nobody's going to do anything for you. You got to do it for yourself. Remember, the world don't owe you anything. You owe yourself the world. Real talk. So I hope you guys have a blessed day. And remember to believe in yourself. Because ain't nobody else go do it, man. Dragon Ball Art 92. I'm out, y'all. Peace.
Recently, I was able to witness the fights of 3 great warriors. His powers were completely absurd. I had never seen anything like it.